Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to take you through all the books that I have been reading in the month of October. This month I have been particularly interested in nonfiction books, those about fiber as well as historically significant aspects of fiber production. So let's get going. The first book that I read is The Lost Flock, and this is by Jane Cooper. This book follows Jane's journey from the Northumbria to being a shepherdess on the island of Orkney, or maybe it's one of the islands of Orkney, and she raises Boré sheep, and she follows, there's marauding cats behind me. She's following the journey of figuring out where her sheep come from and how they link back to the original batch of Boré sheep that were removed from the island and then raised in an agricultural setting in Scotland. So this was a great book. The audiobook is narrated by Jane herself, and I thought that this was a great story, a good one to listen to. It particularly gets you interested in sheep conservation, sort of that aspect of, let's just keep going from here. Okay, number two, this is called A Short History of the World According to Sheep, and this is by Sally Coulthard. Coulthard? It's one of those. This was an amazing book, and it was by far my favorite book that I read of this month, and it's possible that it was of the entire year. I thought that this was a fantastic book. I think it's a great book, even if you don't care about sheep, about wool, fiber. Still a great read. Her style is engaging. She's humorous. It's really, it's a fun read. So I actually went and bought 2 more of her books after this one because I thought that this book was so great and her style was so amazing. The only thing that I would caution when you go to look for this book is that it has, I believe, 2 different names. So the second name of this is called Follow the Flock. And I'm not sure if that's US market versus UK market, but the version that I read was A Short History of Sheep. No, it wasn't. It was A Short History of the World According to Sheep. So one of those 2 titles will help you find this book, and definitely go get it. It's great. Let's see. Number 3, this is called The Golden Thread, and it's by Cassia St. Clair. This was a very interesting book. I thought that she had a fantastic history of fabric, all different types of fabric, basically fabric from the time of the prehistoric fabric production, 30,000 years ago, all the way through to current history of fabrics. It involved information on the swimsuit issues in the 2008 Olympics. I thought that really this was an interesting book to read. I thought the current historical aspects of fabric were maybe the most interesting things that I didn't necessarily think about or know. So I loved the entire section on NASA and the NASA space suits and how they came to make those fabrics. It was really an interesting read, so that was a great one. The 4th one is The Vanishing, I think it's just Vanishing Fleece by Clara Parks. I've read other Clara Parks books. I think most knitters have at least some Clara Parks books in their library. This one, her storytelling, her humor, it really comes across. I can't believe I hadn't already read this book. It was just, it was funny, it was entertaining, and I would highly recommend if you're a knitter, this is a good book for you, or a spinner probably too. The 5th book is a fiction book. This is not a nonfiction or a book about fabric in any way. It's Coming Home by Rosamund Pilcher, and this one is set between 1935 and just after World War II ends, I believe around 1946, maybe into 1947. And this story follows a young woman, Judith, and her sort of late teens to early 20s throughout that wartime. And it was an amazing story. I thought that this was really, really a great book. I listened to this one and I think that that was just right for me. The book itself, I believe, has about 1,000 pages. The audiobook was about 40 hours, which I personally love because then I get more bang for my buck and I can listen to it for a lot longer period of time before I have to go out and find the next book to listen to. So I thought that this was a really good book and I would highly recommend it, especially if you, like me, have a love for that sort of war era fictional storytelling. This is a good one for you. Lastly, number 6, I'm currently still making my way through this book. It is called Worn, and this is by Sophia Thanhauser. It's a tough read. It makes you feel a little bit, or at least it makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable with the truth. It's an uncomfortable history and one that I didn't necessarily think about or know before it. And I think one of the toughest parts is that the uncomfortableness is still there. This isn't necessarily just history, but it's current practices as well. So I have to say I had no idea about cotton farming practices, especially in the US. And honestly, I didn't give much thought to cotton processing abroad either and the impacts that that has on the people and the geography. So this is definitely one that makes me think more about how I purchase, what I purchase, and it makes me want to use my purchase power in a slightly different way. So I think it's a great read and it's something that's important to know and to understand, but it definitely makes you a little cringe on the inside. So it's a tough one. So those are the books that I've read this month. I would love to hear what you've been up to from a reading perspective. If you've read any of these books or have any recommendations, just drop it below. I am always looking for more books to add to my list. Thanks. Bye. This month, let's just start all over.